Jim Rohn said, success is what you attract by the person you become. How do you become? You become by designing the exact person you want to be and becoming that person right now. You see, I find that most people believe that success is either by accident or by luck. I believe that success is by design. Hi, I'm Alfonso Cuadra, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and creator and host of this program. You see, I went from being a 15-year-old, war-torn, homeless, high school dropout to running a successful corporation before 20 years old. But what happened? Did the world change? Did people change? No. I discovered that for things to change in my life, I had to change. And I did. I sat down at 17 years old and I made a list of goals and designed the exact life I wanted to live. I achieved everything on that list before 20 years old. Success is not by accident. It is by design. And welcome to the Success by Design show, where we bring you the stories and formulas of successful people that have designed their own success. And today, we're talking about designing healthy lifestyles. Because success is not just about, how much money is in your bank account, but it is about health. We can design our health. And I brought someone here to help us. Jessica, help us. How can we design our health?
Well, there's so many ways. There's starting with small changes. A big thing would be to start meal planning, food prepping. So just knowing what you're going to have for the week. That's something that's really helped me, my clients, my friends.
So what is you do? You are a professional trainer.
Yes, for FitJust training. I run boot camps and I do personal training and training program design on the side.
So I saw some pictures. You went through this, not only body transformation, but I'm sure it was a lifestyle transformation.
It was.
So, how did, can you tell us just the story?
Sure. I was always very thin and athletic. And when I was 21, my husband and I had our first daughter, and I lost the weight no problem. But as the years kind of went on, and I had a desk job, so I wasn't very active, the weight started creeping on, and without really even noticing. And then we had our second daughter when I was 29, and I ended up by going back to my job heavier than when I gave birth, actually. So it was a big change for me, and I felt kind of lost and didn't really know what to do. This wasn't something I was used to. And I came across an article where this girl, I felt like she was describing me. She was saying how she was wearing bigger clothes and trying to hide in along the walls and not wanting to come out and be herself. And I felt like it was me that she was describing. And she said she decided to do some fitness competitions. And I thought, maybe that's something I can try. Maybe, and I don't recommend it for everyone, but that was something that I wanted to try. And through that, I decided to get my personal training, and I competed in 2 bikini competitions. And
now, is that like bodybuilding?
Yes, it is. It isn't I guess how would you explain? It is more like fitness. It's an athletic look that they're looking for. And then there's figure, which is an even more muscular look, and there's different levels.
There's muscle competitions.
Yes.
And then there's the bikini competitions.
Which is part of it, yes.
And then there's another one where people, I think they're dancing.
They have routines that they put together.
Yeah. So is that part of the bikini? Is that what you do?
I don't do the routines, no. No, I just did the walks and just showed what I did through clean eating and training.
You were 2 kids at home. You have this desk job. You're wearing the baggy clothes, and then all of a sudden you went to
the extreme.
Wow.
I was in a little tiny bikini up on stage, and that was pretty scary.
And liberating, I bet.
But it was. I had worked really, really hard, and so I was really proud of it. I wanted to show my girls too that you can achieve anything, and you just have to put your mind to it. And through that, I found a love for fitness, and I really love it.
Do you find it, because you're training people,
yes.
and not everybody has the same drive, right? So what, how do you get people to just show up?
Well, for me, I run a boot camp as well in the evenings because I still have my desk job. So I run a boot camp in the evenings, and getting people to show up, I just try and make my classes fun. I try and make it, very non-judgmental.
No drill sergeant?
I'm not a drill sergeant. That's not my personality.
Because we hear boot camp and everybody's like,
I
like
know.
Someone's going to be yelling at me to do push-ups.
Yeah, no, for me, that's not my style. I would rather just be encouraging and come on, ladies, you can do it. And
is it mostly women or?
It is. I have had men in it as well, but right now it's a fabulous group of women that I have. And yeah, we just go, we have fun, we get sweaty, and we run around and we're working out. It's a lot of fun.
So what are some challenges that you have to go through? I mean, on this journey, going, this physical transformation, mental transformation, lifestyle transformation. What are challenges? What are things that you have to, overcome?
Well, when I was competing, eating at different times with than your family, but just for regular life, which I'm not competing anymore, and so just for my regular life, it's trying to make sure that we're eating healthy as much as possible, but still finding a balance. We want to go to barbecues and birthday parties and still have fun, but just knowing, okay, I'm going to be going to that barbecue, especially during summer right now, to plan your week accordingly. Like, I know I'm going to indulge maybe or have something, then I would want to make sure that I'm keeping my week a little bit tighter, making sure my dinners are a little bit healthier, and yeah.
So for someone out there trying to kind of they want to design a healthy lifestyle. Yes. So what part of it are we going to say is weight training? What part of it is going to be cardio, like running? If I just ran every day, how is that going to affect me? And what part of it is it diet?
I would say the majority is diet. But
that's funny because most people would say, if I run every day, then I can have the pizza at night.
That's not exactly how it works.
That's how I wish it would.
Yes, and I think most people think that as well. They think, okay, well, I'm going to have this piece of cake, I'm going to do extra cardio, and I'm going to do this, but your body still remembers it, and it's unnecessary. It's have your indulgence and then move on.
So we're talking about diet first. Diet's the most important,
yes.
And then the second, if we're talking about either body training, bodybuilding, yep, or the weight training and cardio, how do we?
For me, I prefer like high intensity cardio over the steady state cardio. High intensity cardio would be, my favorite is sprints, and so it would be, as an example, 30 seconds of running as fast as you can, and then 30 seconds of walking. And so you would do that for however much time your trainer or you decide is good for your body. But the steady state cardio is where you just kind of get on an elliptical machine or a treadmill and you just kind of go, and it's just jogging or
if someone's right now watching this program,
yep,
and they said, you know what, I feel they're overweight and they're sitting there in their pajamas and they're baggy, yes, right? And me, what can I do? What can I do to be fit right now? I want to, what's the first thing that I could do?
Well, I would say if you were overweight and very sedentary, get moving. So get off the couch, go for walks, but then making smaller changes. If you're a pop drinker, maybe try cutting pop out, or if you're a chip lover, try cutting those out. Making small changes makes it easier to have a lasting effect. Taking the stairs whenever possible over the elevator. Again, meal prepping, making enough of your dinner so that you can either freeze it if you're a single person, or making enough to bring for lunches the next day for your family. It's making small changes like that. Choosing the chocolate bar, choosing an apple over a chocolate bar. You know that a chocolate bar is not good for you. You know that the cake is not good for you.
But it's so good.
But healthy doesn't have to be bad. I think a lot of people think that they feel deprived if they're eating healthy, like, oh, I have to eat chicken again, or It doesn't have to be that way. There's so many herbs and spices and different ways you can flavor things to make it exciting and to make it different.
So what are what are 3 tips you can offer somebody right now that wants 3 things that they can just do right now?
Well, I would say first would be eat according to your goals. So that would be, I would recommend eating a protein, a complex carb, and a good fat at every meal, breaking it down into smaller meals.
Like, we would have 2 different things that we would do, right? Like if I have my goal is to become like buff,
Yes.
we would have different goals.
Yes, it would be probably higher proteins for you, but having enough protein, I think, is something that a lot of people don't do. But examples of protein are fish, nuts, lean meats. Good fats are avocado, coconut oil, flax oil, extra virgin olive oil, and complex carbs are fruits and vegetables. So the first tip would be eating those as often as you can at every meal if possible, and not being scared to have a healthy snack before bed. A lot of people say don't eat after dinner time, but having like a little, I know, eating like a small handful of nuts or something healthy that will help stay with you. Fats will stay with you. Fats and proteins stay with you longer. The second tip would be to exercise. Get moving, join a boot camp, join a fitness class, the gym, get a home workout video. Walking, get moving. That would be a big thing. And lastly would be drink lots of water. You should be trying to drink 2 to 3.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, trying to drink 2 to 3 liters of water a day is ideal. And rehydrating your body is so important for your muscles, everything, just to heal. It helps your skin, helps everything. And I'm going to sneak in another one, getting lots of sleep. Lots of sleep is super important.
Rest.
Yes.
Rest.
It's very important.
I mean, just from everything you've said, there's some of those things I've touched on, and it's helped me. Like, for example, water. Mm-hmm. So I know that a lot of people are going to, they're watching this program. Maybe they're making notes, and they can go. Maybe they can contact you. You can go back to the website. But what is one quote? What is that one quote that just that you live by, that kind of gets you going and gets you motivated?
Love yourself more than you love external things. And that was by Charles Poliquin in his article, The Myth of Discipline. And in his article, it is more like loving your abs over the donut, but it really can be used in all aspects of your life, in relationships, with fears, with your job, just loving yourself enough.
Love yourself.
Yeah.
Love yourself. Thank you, Jessica. We're designing our health. Stay tuned for more after this. We are back, and we're still talking about designing our healthy lifestyles, and just how success is not just, money in the bank account. It also includes health. And today we have Sean and Steve, and you guys have kind of an interesting thing. First of all, you're a head chef, and you're owner of a gluten-free restaurant.
This is true.
Correct.
It's 90% or
No,
Say we're about 99.5.
99.5.
There's
So
some things that bread just
does that even exist in Ottawa? A 99.5% gluten-free
well,
restaurant?
we are aware of some other restaurants that are doing 100% gluten-free, and it is a struggle to get things just right. And for the small handful of us that are trying, all the power to us, right? But not everybody can hit the mark.
Now, this is a subject that resonates with me because my daughter has gluten-free, she eats gluten-free because she has allergies to gluten. And I didn't even know what gluten was, really. I mean, how did we even survive, 10 years ago, right? So what possessed you? What inspired you to, just say, you know what, there's a small target of people, and now has become kind of like a trend, right? So what inspired you to open a gluten-free restaurant?
Short answer is my wife. She inspired me to make a career change. And my wife being celiac, I was tired of going out to restaurants with her, watching her order a salad, grilled chicken, and just praying that the kitchen could get it right. Or going to other restaurants where they say, yeah, you can have a steak, but you can't have it seasoned, and you can't actually have any of the sides, so you can have a side salad. Well, to me, that wasn't really an acceptable response. So we just set out to do food as naturally as we could.
You weren't gluten-free the whole time, right?
No, well, when Sean had approached myself and the former chef to write a menu, he had sat down and said, listen, I want a place that's safe for my wife. So why don't we make 20% of it gluten-free? And part of that means nothing goes in the deep fryer that has gluten, which opens up, surprisingly, a lot of simple things to people that have gluten allergies, like French fries. And when we had heard this, hands up in the air going, we can't do this, this is impossible, it's just, you can't make this work. So we're in our fourth menu.
Yeah.
And with each successive menu that we wrote, I found just eliminating a little bit more flour, a little bit more, and all of a sudden I said, let's just get rid of it, get rid of all raw flour products so we're safe. We can now control we bring in baguette to make these little crackers, but we can now control the one aspect that's gonna scare anybody that has a gluten allergy. So we are now 99.5% gluten-free.
And even when we started, your original menu that you had laid out for us, you and the other chef, is essentially, it was already 70% gluten-free. They just didn't understand it, like you had said.
Right.
10 years ago, we had no concept of this, and it's something that's growing in society. And
why is it important for us to be why is it healthy? I understand the people that are allergic, but why should people be eating gluten-free?
well, I think it stems from a few things. 1 out of every 100 people is diagnosed as celiac, and that's a number that's growing. 5 years ago it was 1 out of every 133. But when you take a step back, you realize that they can't diagnose a gluten intolerance as they can a celiac disease. So the population could be upwards of 50, and some reports in North America are now saying up to 70% of the population suffers in some form. Wow. Whether or not it's... the problem is you can't see the symptoms, right? It's all internal, and you realize this with your daughter, but it could be everything from arthritis to migraines to inflammation. So there are things that people don't realize right off the bat, be it IBS or so forth. So for a lot of people, it's about just making that slight change. And for some, it's not doing it all the time. Keep some gluten in your diet, but for some, it's mandatory.
So, because I've seen the vegetarian. For example, you go to a fast food place and they give you the vegetarian burger, right? And it tastes like it doesn't
Rubber.
taste very. Yeah,
Right.
I won't say the word, but it doesn't taste good, right? So, what's the difference between just like really creating a real authentic gluten-free menu than just kind of exchanging this recipe for this. I mean, this is how the recipe calls, but we're just gonna not put flour and not do this.
I'd almost like to say it's actually harder than that, but in most cases, as we've run tests in the kitchen, we want people to be excited about the food. I want somebody that can eat gluten to come into the restaurant and go, oh my God, this is still fantastic. Most recipes, they are just straight switches. We're substituting different types of flour for wheat flour, garbanzo flour, sorghum. The real trick comes from getting gluten, that stretch that bread has, back into the food. So that's where and
making it taste good, right?
Making it taste good, right.
If I'm going to a gluten-free restaurant, the first thing I'm going to think, I'm like, whoa, like, what can they make?
What's missing from
yeah,
my food?
what are they going to be exchanging, And am I going to have a restaurant experience, or am I just eating healthy? Because I can just eat lettuce at home, right?
Sure. Yeah, so we wanted to design that menu that attracted everybody to it. So we don't really splash that we're gluten-free all over the place, because we don't want to sort of alienate some people. But at the same time, it's food that everybody can eat. I eat gluten, but not on a regular basis because of the restaurant. And I feel...
Are you more aware of it now?
I am. I feel good. I feel much better about... I don't feel so lethargic in the day. I'd wake up in the morning before and I'd have bread like everybody else, but then you'd start hitting that crash. I don't get that anymore. I feel much better. So.
Well, even looking at our menu, the majority of the items, and I think this what kind of differentiates us a little bit, is the fact that most of them are just innately gluten-free in their own right. You look at something as simple as our duck breast. It's duck, blackberry sauce, blackberries, heirloom tomatoes, or heirloom carrots. None of this should ever touch gluten.
Right.
So for me, it was kind of eye-opening to go into restaurants and realize that a lot of them aren't grasping this. They're trying to cut corners and take a few seconds and use flour to make their sauces thicker and not.
Yeah.
That's it.
We spend 4 days.
As a
making the
restaurant,
sauce.
is it risky to have the kind of restaurant you have? I mean, you're eliminating gluten. Maybe an Italian person might not be able to.
Sure. And we are a Mediterranean restaurant, right? So to eliminate pasta off the menu, that was a big one too, because we originally started, we were like, oh, we'll do these raviolis and things like that. And as you try to make some of these things don't work. So really, if you can't eat gluten, or you shouldn't be eating gluten, you almost have to bow out and say, okay, no more pasta, no more bread. But it doesn't mean that you can't have a donut, because I can make a great gluten-free donut. But it doesn't mean you have to eliminate a lot of these things. You just have to make wiser choices about them.
Now, there's a little bit of a trend now, and I'm sure when you guys started, when you started the restaurant, how long ago?
We opened our doors mid-September.
Mid-September. So you must have been aware that there's a little bit of a trend happening where people, and we are not seeing any gluten-free restaurants yet. And I'm sure there's more to come. You guys being the first ones, at what point did you realize, like, whoa, this can work?
I think for me personally, it was sitting down with our chefs at the time, just before we opened, and saying, look, this is what I want to do. I want to go out, and I want my wife to be able to come into my own restaurant and have options. That's all it was options. And it was seeing the chef's eyes open up, saying, okay, maybe we can do this. Maybe it's something different. And as far as the trends go, I mean, you can see it. Tim Hortons has just introduced a gluten-free line. Yeah, just of all places. So you have Tim Hortons, you have the Metros of the world, and these are big places. This isn't something that's just a fad. There are tons of people doing it as a diet choice. But from a healthy lifestyle standpoint, a lot of people have to do this, or are making the choice to do this to feel better for themselves. Less lethargic in life, and I think that's something that we kind of embraced as we've gone along this journey.
Now, are you guys planning to expand the operation, or?
We'd like to. I think we'll take it one day at a time, make sure that we get this one locked down first, and then sure, we'd love to expand. Who wouldn't? So,
because we are talking about designing healthy lifestyles, what are maybe I don't know if it would be the chef or, maybe you, what are 3 tips that you can offer for someone to design a healthy lifestyle around this kind of gluten-free kind of trend that we're seeing?
Well, I can field 1 or 2 of them, I'm sure. As far as the eliminating gluten flour from your diet, spend some time at a natural health food store. Find out what other flours are available, rice flour, like I was saying before, garbanzo flour, which I love because it's got this nuttiness to it.
And not only that, it sounds like Alfonso.
Exactly. Just educate yourself. It took me a long time long time. We've only been open 8 months, and I seem to have a grasp on it. But just start educating yourself that when you go and reach for flour, it doesn't have to be wheat flour. I find that there's issues with lift in bread. So if you're going to make pancakes or something and you're using gluten-free bread, try whipping your egg whites first. And if you're going to throw eggs in there anyways, add some lift by whipping your egg whites. Or look at things like xanthan gums that can add some elasticity back into it. And always keep it warm. You always want to eat your bread warm.
You got a tip for us?
Absolutely. I think I'll put a tip out for more those who are just finding out that they're diagnosed, or those who their spouse or significant other just got diagnosed. Because it's a big shock. My wife grew up Italian. So she had pastas, breads growing up.
It's killing her.
When she was diagnosed, to be honest, she went through 3 horrific months where you realize you can't have those comfort foods that you grew up on. But it's just about taking your time and planning, understanding what's out there. There's lots of things available to you. There's lots of options at places. You just need to understand what to look for. And the more you can read up on it and understand about it, the more you're going to know and prepare yourself going out into the world.
Quickly, what's the name of the restaurant and how can we find you?
Aperitivo. We are in the Centrum Walk in Canada. Drop on by. You can find us Aperitivo Canada on Facebook as well as Twitter, and aperitivo.ca if you want to check our website out.
Steve and Sean, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate that. One quick quote.
The only constant is change.
All right. So we learned about being fit. We learned about eating right, and we learned today about how to design a successful, healthy lifestyle. And I hope you join us next time for more of Success by Design show.